Now entering Nerdist.com.
You made it weird, you made it weird, you made it weird, oh yeah. You made it weird, you made it weird, yes you did. You made it weird, oh yeah.
You Made It Weird with Pete Holmes.
Yes you did.
All right, what is happening, weirdos? It's like 1:20 in the morning on a Thursday, and I'm sending this to poor Katie, who has to put this together. Oh, Katie Levine, you'll bury us all. Real quick, Harris Wittels, great episode. Really excited. No surprise there. YouMadeItWeird.com. Buy some t-shirts. Quickest and easiest way to get involved. Weird@Nerdist.com is a way to email the show. Tour dates, you should know this. We know this. If you're listening to this on Friday, that means tonight I am going to be at the Madhouse Comedy Club in San Diego, and Saturday, that's May 4th and 5th, May 10th through 13th, Laughing Skull Atlanta, May 17th through 19th, Salt Lake City at Wise Guys, May 31st through June 2nd, Comedy Attic in Indiana, and June 13th through 16th, Helium in Portland. Going to be at Bumbershoot, going to be at Bonnaroo, going to be at Sasquatch. You can find me on the schedules for all of those. Episode is brought to you by Amazon. Go to Nerdist.com and go to this episode, and there's an Amazon banner. Click on that. Shop as you normally would. Good way to support the show. Also, YouMadeItWeird.com, as I already mentioned, is the best and easiest way to support the show. I think. All right, guys. A lot of good episodes coming up. Really excited. Recorded some of them today, and Harris is one of my favorites. He listens to the show. That's rare. So he knew the deal, and we get it into it real quick. So enjoy it, please. Yes.
Twiddles, twiddles, bite-sized candies. Taste the rainbow of fruit flavors of Twiddles.
It is a fun name, huh?
Have you ever gotten that before?
That whole song?
Just as I did, kind of smiling.
I've never gotten that exactly, but the first
Are
time
you
I did
familiar?
Largo,
It's a Skittles song. That's all I want to say.
I've never even heard that song.
Skittles, bite-sized candies, taste the rainbow of fruit flavors of Skittles.
Not an official Skittles song. You made that
No,
up
it's
about
real.
Skittles.
Is this a fat joke? That I just sit around eating Skittles and I'm like, how do I describe my love for the
Skittles aren't fattening, they're fruit. They're
Well, I love how those candies will say, like Twizzlers will be like, fat-free. And it's because it's
Right.
just like centrifuged sugar.
Twizzlers, I think, are actually what they make toys out of.
Is it?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that as
Oh.
a fact, but the texture and
That
the
is
taste,
what I would
it
believe.
tastes like, it's
toy.
not fattening because it's plastic.
It is fattening.
Twizzlers are?
Absolutely. Harris. Harris.
I gotta stop eating Twizzlers.
No, Twizzlers are the best. You ever bite the top and the bottom and then use it
Drink
as a really,
through it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really lazy straw.
Fuck yeah. How's that lazy? That's the most work you can do on us.
I mean, the straw
You
itself.
make it. You make
the
the
straw.
straw.
Isn't pulling its weight.
Right.
You're doing a lot of sucking, and it makes the soda last forever.
It does.
Remember the candy that was just a Coke bottle that was wax and it was filled with like Super Coke?
Yes. Well, it wasn't Coke. It was little fruit juices.
Well, some of them were
It
fruit
came
juices.
in they're called like nips or something.
Nips.
Those were
Nips.
amazing, and I tried to revisit those this year, and
Yeah.
they're so bad.
Yeah,
The
of
juice
course
is
they
just,
are.
it's sitting in a 7-Eleven, not even a 7-Eleven. Like
well,
a
remember
bodega.
the barrels with the foil tops? Yeah, it was a drink.
Now,
It's like it would be like blue water. And then it was like a crate of them for like $1. It was definitely some kind of white trashy
Yeah.
stuff. I wanted
yes.
it so bad.
I know they're good. I grew up being able. I was small growing up,
Yep.
and still, but even
I remain.
then, I was very small.
Yeah.
And my mom would, when we go grocery shopping, she'd give me my own basket and just tell me to have a field day.
No.
because she just wanted me to eat anything just to get weight.
Really?
So I fucking.
Oh, you were scrawny and short?
Yeah, I was just like,
I'm
take
sorry.
it easy.
Yeah, but then I walked by like eating a muffin, just like, I'm doing okay. I was very doughy. I was so doughy. Shirts
I
for
never had
Skins
that,
was
yeah.
okay. Were you so skinny that it was embarrassing to like remove your shirt? Does this need
No.
to be plugged in? What is this? Sorry.
That's a XLR cable.
That is an XLR. I got to go to the wine team
XL
station for
and-
the power converters. What's Luke's first line?
Who?
Luke's. Oh.
Just kidding. I know what you're
You
talking
know
about.
who it is.
I'm not a huge Star Wars guy.
Go back to you being allowed to buy whatever you wanted.
Yeah, I had
'cause
like
that is fascinating.
I had like a mini fridge in my room.
You didn't.
With sodas and string cheese and.
You did?
I was a fucking spoiled little shit.
You
And-
were living the fat kid dream.
Yeah, I was the house that people wanted to come have sleepovers.
You had fun parents.
Yeah.
And you'd come over and be like, "You want a soda? I'll
Yeah.
go downstairs. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
There's a fridge in here."
Exactly. Fucking no need, guy.
Because they wanted you to bulk up.
Well, also they just loved me. I was a spoiled Jewish child, and
Spoiled only Jewish child?
no, I had an older sister who was the same.
Both
who-
spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, they were just really nice to us and really supportive.
I don't know why that seems more of a single child, only child sort of thing.
Right. That I
And
do
you're the
have
young-
only child tendencies, but I grew
Yeah.
up with a sibling.
I started to think that might be one of my things for dating somebody. Have you ever noticed? Look, I love all peoples, and I don't want to ostracize a huge group, but there are people that when you date somebody or get to know a friend even, and they're a single only. Why do I keep saying single child? They're an only child.
Not an unmarried child.
That will that will indicate
Yeah.
that maybe. I don't know. I can't even say it. I
Man,
can't even
I-
finish that thought because I'm offended by it.
I know. There's
Because they didn't grow up with another kid.
Yeah, there's a writer on my show I love dearly on Parks.
Yeah.
Who anytime we get in the slightest argument, I go only child because she was an only child.
Yeah.
It drives her fucking crazy.
I could feel all the only children that listen to the show hating me. Like, you know what's funny is I didn't even learn that much having a brother. In fact,
Right.
I didn't really get to know my brother until my divorce. Not to make this about me, but like for 28 years, I kind of was kicking it at home, and my brother was out like living life.
What's the age diff?
I love abbreviations
I know, it's
so
fun.
much. It's the fastest
I hope they
way.
never become hack. They
Me
are.
too.
They are hack. They're alt hack.
It
if
might
we
make
wanna
the
talk
list of
about
alt
all that.
hack abbreviations.
I learned that from Kumail, although
Kumail
he
was
brought
on
me
this
into
show.
the fold because I had that separate.
Oh, did you?
And then he was
it's
like, there's a secret society of us.
It's up your alley.
Yeah.
You like to marshal hackness.
yeah.
Well, that brings us nicely to humble brag.
Oh, great.
By the way, this is Harris Wittels. Everybody will know because you.
Oh, yes. Thanks for having me on.
You're so-
Captain Weird Pants.
You're so great. I always love talking to you, man. So I'm
You
glad
too.
we
That's
finally
why I
made it
did
happen.
this show, because this is the only way I think we can talk. I'm not. What am I going to ask you to hang out? You have your group of friends. I have my
No,
group of friends.
I don't even. It's crazy. I was just saying that to someone. The only way it's like in Saved by the Bell when Zach Morris called his dad on his cell phone, and his dad's like, "I'm sorry, I have to take this call." And it's
Yeah.
Zach, and he goes, "Is this the only way we can talk, Dad?" On his huge '80s phone. That's how I feel with my friends, and that's how my friends feel about me. Because if it's off mic, we're just like, "What's the point?"
Right.
Even as we're
It's
talking,
fucked
I'm
up.
like, I'm glad we get to have the thing about the wax and you grocery shopping.
Okay, but my perception of you is that you and Chelsea and TJ and Nick are just constantly just gallivanting around
Yeah.
Silver Lake and Santa Monica and having
Interesting.
brunches all the time.
Yeah, we run real hot and cold. I'm glad you're bringing this up. Like Chelsea and I hung out today, and then like before that, I think it had been because we travel. I just
Right.
did Bridgetown,
Right.
and she was in Wyoming or something. So there'll be like a week, and then we'll hang out, and then there'll be a week, and then we'll hang out. I think other friends are probably seeing each other more.
Right. That's accepted amongst comedians. You don't see each other for a long time.
Yeah,
And then you
like my
just
birthday
hang
was
out.
on a Friday, and I just sent out a text. I was like, "Who's in town?" And of course, no one was. It's a Friday,
Right.
So me and Nick Thune ended up eating steaks and drinking martinis in the middle of the day. which
I'm
was-
going to give you. That's a perfect birthday, right?
It
Is that
was
what-
a perfect
okay,
birthday.
Right.
It was a fucking and you know what made it so great? Unplanned.
Right.
I had a meeting in the
Yes.
morning, and it was a great show business meeting. I love that. I love show business so much. Great little gift to myself. Then I get a text from Thune just as I'm leaving in the car. And you know how it is sometimes in LA. You get home and then you're like, I'm home now.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
for
going out
weeks.
again.
Jesus.
I've actually, you're joking. I've heard of people that'll be like, I haven't been out of the house in a while. And they're like,
yeah.
how long? Months. Grocery delivery, on demand. I think marijuana
no
smoke
need
makes an
for it.
appearance. No need to leave.
It's sad. I just moved into a place and I'm in that zone where I.
Well, that's
just
what I was going to ask
never
you.
wanna-
You're a homeowner.
We're skipping around a lot.
I know.
But this
you
is good
listen
because
to the
we
show.
have-
Does it bother you when we skip around?
It depends if they're interested in. If they want to talk about humble brag, I don't.
Well,
I
we'll
don't,
get
I
back
don't
to
know if
humble
that's
brag.
interesting to them. Or
It's
not.
interesting. It's kind of interesting. I
But
think so.
whatever. It's played. That shit's played.
I'm sure
homie.
other people talk to you about humble brag,
Right.
But I would like to talk to you about what it's like to be a homeowner.
Yeah, it's
Crazy, man. You're younger than me.
Yeah, 20. About to be in 2 days. 28.
In 2 days, 28.
Yeah.
From the world, we say, go fuck yourself. To all the people working hard jobs, I
Well,
thought I hated myself. I hate you, man.
It was a slow progression.
Yep. Well, you're
I
doing
had-
really well.
I'm doing all right.
You're doing
I'm
great.
Doing all right. Yeah.
This is not a show where, of course, I'm joking.
Right.
I'm not here to judge. I think it's wonderful that you're doing great, and I think
You're doing
incredibly
great.
talented. Well, thank you. That moment just encapsulated exactly what I'm going for on this show. Hey, man, you're great. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah.
Thanks. We could end the episode right here.
And the whole thing. The whole podcast.
You're selling books. Humble Brag is a book.
Selling books. Yeah.
Selling movies.
Selling book.
Selling book,
movies. Yeah.
selling movies, leaving lucrative. Sorry to say lucrative. Leaving prestigious, nice television jobs to become acting person. And what else? And buying homes.
That covered it. Yeah. I mean.
And you're 27.
Yeah.
You dick.
They're I'm telling you, like, I lived with roommates until I bought this house. I had 2 roommates.
Yes.
And
This is a show.
yes.
Yeah, that's a
This-
show.
This is the show. This right here.
Why is it whenever I pick up a fork, it's dirty? That's a dirty fork. This
that-
is a show, Jerry. This is a show. That's my Seinfeld and my George, my lesser-known George impression.
He's doing the Elaine dance silently right
Jerry!
now, too.
Ah, there's a fork. I'm busted, Jerry. I can't really do it.
No, you can really do it. That's why you're doing it.
I think impressions are so fun, and I have a very strict just try it policy, and nothing delights me more than trying an impression and seeing other people try
Yeah.
impressions. It just makes
it's
me
the best.
so happy.
There's nothing better than impressions.
Do you want to do a little Seinfeld just to delight me?
And that's too, because I can't. It
You-
would pale to yours. There's no reason to do it. I'll try any other impression.
Sure. Cosby?
Let's see.
We just
Okay,
did
the one
Cosby.
impression that I do
Yeah.
is, do you watch Sex and the City ever?
I've seen some.
You know Steve, Miranda's husband?
Oh, Jesus. Katie seems to. I think a lot of people will know.
Yeah, Miranda, I moved the.
I do know him. He's bald.
Yeah, I know. No, he got hair.
That's Charlotte's guy.
Oh,
that's
fuck.
the other guy. He's the guy that's on Californication that is always naked and fucking. Every episode,
yes.
it's that guy fucking.
I thought it was David Duchovny fucking.
Everyone on that show fucks.
It's a big fuck show.
It's crazy.
Well, you work in television, and you're aware of this new trend of like different types of porn, lifestyle porn. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I love watching television. Like Mad Men, everybody's dressed really nice.
Yes.
Everybody has nice cars.
Right.
Everybody has these nice houses. That's how I know I'm a grown person, because I was just watching Mad Men today.
Yeah.
And I was like, Don's got a really nice apartment. That's part of it. Yeah. It's almost like pornography that would be happening in a nice house is like doubly nice for me at my age, because I'm like, I bet it's really quiet in that
Right.
neighborhood.
I was just reading the guy that did Gavin McGinnis, the guy that does Vice. I was reading his book. You know, Vice magazine.
I do know it, not well,
yeah.
but go.
But
It's funny because
so
I
he's-
have the word Vice written on my hand.
Oh, that's why I brought it up. That's not about the magazine.
Is that
I'm
why
just
you brought
kidding. No, that'd be weird if I
that would have been
zeroed in on my
amazing.
hand.
Fucking Robert Downey Jr.'s.
But
I was going to say Sylvester Holmes. I couldn't think of the name Sherlock, and it's my namesake.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
And
Okay, good.
but he was talking about signs that you're getting older, and one is that you like country music instead of hating it.
Yeah,
because it's
I can
old
see
guys
that.
talking about their shitty fucking lives.
I can see
and
that.
you relate to those stories.
Yep.
And then another thing was you look at the work,
Visiting-
the craftsmanship of a house in a way that you never did before.
Wait, you never gave a shit.
Yeah.
I can't believe my parents had a house.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they have another one.
Yeah.
I now go, they used to take me on tours as a child of like a Rockefeller mansion. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Guess who does now?
You.
Me.
Yeah, me
Look
too.
at that molding.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Fuck. Look at how big this wall is.
I know, because you go, could I do that on my place? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you.
Well, that-
I don't enjoy anything unless I can relate it to my life exactly.
Well, there's an element of truth to that. Is
You know-
everything we watch is like, what can I steal? What can
you
I
know
sponge
why?
from
yes,
this?
and okay, I used to be really into baseball, and I'm not so much anymore. And I think it was because I used to think I could play professional baseball.
And when you stopped.
And then I stopped. When I knew that I couldn't, I kind of stopped caring.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm never gonna have to fucking do that.
That's interesting.
I don't know, it's kind of like it's maybe I'm a sociopath.
No. Sociopath. I often worry that I'm a sociopath. Do you worry that you're a sociopath?
There's that test that people give.
What is it?
That I've passed, so I'm not a sociopath.
Can you give it? Is it hand bigger than face? Because if you
I'm
punch
gonna
me in the
tell it.
nose, I'm going to be so upset.
It's like a shitty test, and I'm gonna botch it. But it's basically like, okay, so the scenario is.
Oh no! I'm so
This-
worried that I'm
this
going to fail
girl-
this test
this
on the
woman's-
air. It's a woman. She's precious. I love her.
Okay.
I wonder how she's feeling. I just want to excel. How can I excel?
Okay, so this.
Oh no!
There's a woman and she's got these parents and the mom dies, and then she's at the funeral and she meets a guy and she falls deeply in love with him. They hit it off. They have a long conversation.
Yeah.
He leaves without giving her his number or anything, right? A week later, her dad dies. Why?
A week later, her dad
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And she killed the dad. Why?
Oh, a week later, she kills her dad?
Yeah.
I don't know, because she learned her model from male love from the father and hated the man so much for not giving.
Okay, see, you are not a sociopath. The sociopath's answer is she wanted to meet that guy again. And the only way she could do it is to kill someone.
Whoa!
So, but
Whoa!
because people like you and me have these convoluted, weird,
Yeah.
psychological fucking, but that. So yeah, we're fine.
Oh my God, I was so nervous
it's
that
a
I was
relief,
going to be a
right?
sociopath. Because there have been times in my life where people have been crying to me and it just doesn't stir me.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it ought to. But the truth of the matter is sometimes people cry about things that you don't care about.
Absolutely.
That's
And-
a terrifying
Yes.
realization. I've had girlfriends and they're losing their minds, and I'm
Right.
just like, am I a sociopath? Because I don't give a shit.
But I don't.
But it was because about something that not worth giving a shit
But
about.
also,
for me.
I think all humans, if you feel something, there's a pretty strong chance that's what everyone feels. I gotta
Interesting.
say. A lot of people in conversation just want to fucking talk themselves.
Yes.
And-
You've listened to the show before. Yes. Well, that's actually, the show is baseball. I get more interested, and I think the listeners get more interested when they can extract something from you and when I can extract something from you.
Right.
If I talk to somebody that's exactly on my level, like here you are, I'm already interested, 27, homeowner, coming from the roommates, interesting stuff. I know already some of the things I'm interested in talking to you about, so I'm invested because maybe I could play baseball.
All right.
But if you were Michael Jordan,
Right.
I'd be pretty interested in you, but I'd also be kind of like, yeah, I have tendonitis, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, 10-minute interview with Michael.
What are those Hanes commercials like?
Yeah.
That's all I want to talk
Played
about.
with the flu, huh? What was that like?
Baseball didn't work. That's all I have. The most overplayed.
Your son played basketball.
I'm so glad we're not sociopaths. Although, yeah, that's good. That's interesting.
I think I've dated sociopaths. I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I think.
I have friends that have been accused by their lovers of being sociopaths.
Right. It's a great thing to yell at someone
Or
when
borderline.
they've hurt you.
Borderlines?
Borderlines, I for sure have.
I have as well.
Yeah.
I think so.
I've dated some fucking nutballs.
And that's it's funny because I ran into that girl, Katie, in the parking lot, remember?
Yeah.
And you were coming in, and she's just a fan of the show, which is always nice to talk. And then, as often happens with fans of the show, or weirdos as I call them, we just immediately started talking about like the deepest shit.
Yeah,
Which-
because they feel like they know you.
And they do. She says she's listened to every
Right.
epised, which means she's spent
She knows everything. You have
100
to-
hours
yes.
with me. Yeah. So but that's a
what
utopia for
celebrity
me.
is.
That is something that I actually would enjoy. I'm
And-
not saying I'm a celebrity, but
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Well,
because
that is celebrity. That's
Katie
exactly
and I.
right.
That Katie, not you, Katie. Katie and I can't talk to you, Kate. No, I'm just kidding. Not like I did. Not like I did Parking Lot Katie. No, Parking Lot Katie came up, and that is the juice. We got into
Yes.
it immediately
Yes.
and started talking about it. And I was like, oh my God, we just boiled down what would have been like 45 minutes of getting to know each other and got into the prime cut of the
Absolutely.
conversation. And then we were out and we started talking about borderline personality disorder and about dating people like that. And I was telling her that my dysfunction.
Oh, she wanted to fuck you, dude.
Well, we did a little bit.
You fucked a little bit.
Is hand touching is fucking, right?
Yeah.
I touched that hand.
Yeah, hand to balls. What? Your hand to your balls.
You know how some people like ass to mouth? I love hand to balls. Harder to find.
Right.
Type in hand to balls compilation. You're only a couple hits.
I don't like anything to mouth.
Nothing to mouth?
Man, I go, oh, shit, there's no way that girl's liking that's going back into her mouth after
It's interesting.
it was inside of her.
I was just let's stay on topic.
I don't know what topic we're on.
Well, we're on
I could
borderlines.
do 3 of these episodes and scratch the surface.
I know, we're doing great. Sex is about
It's
power.
only been 1 minute.
I was just talking to somebody. It is. Sex is about power.
Yeah.
It's a power shift, right? We've merged. We totally didn't even touch on comedy, and we've merged right into the second topic, which is fine. We'll come back to comedy, I promise. But I was just talking to somebody about how they're like, rape. Look, I don't even like saying rape. It's such a gross thing and a horrible thing.
And it's hack.
What's that?
It's hack.
But it's like that. People say it's not about horniness; it's about power. And then we're kind of like, well, I forget who was saying this to me, but it was a friend of mine. He was like, well, all sex is somewhat about power. And when you look at that degrading shit, like ass to mouth, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that this is where the show has gone. But that is about power. It's about a guy being like,
yes,
this is degrading.
Yeah, I just did that to you, and now you're gonna.
I know you don't like it,
right?
And you know what's weird is like
they seem like they like it sometimes.
Sometimes
they're acting. It's a job.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
But I think what we're looking for in pornography in these extreme things is genuity, is something real, some sort of real reaction. Because we're all too aware that a girl can fake an orgasm or act like she wants to whatever.
Yeah.
But if you ask to mouth that look in their eye is real. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope they do enjoy it.
No, you're right.
And can I dare I say that there have been times when I've come close in my own mental experiments where I was like, I bet I kind of get that. The idea of being degraded.
Listen, let me also say I am so depraved sexually and will try anything.
Sure.
Anything. I have no boundaries.
Really?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Can I get really weird?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't get weird enough on the show.
Right.
Let's get really weird. Would you be
And it's
interested?
not just me and Pete in this room, so it's not as weird.
It's not as weird, but it's a little weird.
Right.
Can I get handballs right now? It's a little weird. Are you at all interested in exploring sexually the idea of you being submissive?
Or
have you? And this is a judgment-free treehouse right now.
I've done that. I've
What does
been
that
with
mean?
girls that like to fucking rough me up a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm
Like Don Draper.
Yeah.
Just getting
and
slapped.
you know what? I don't like pain, really. Ever. I don't like pain.
Yeah. Not a fan.
I would love to never have to fall down again. It's probably going to happen. And that bums me out.
As we get older.
Yeah, but
more collapses.
What I like is when the girl is into it and when I'm into it. And I want her to be as like free as I want to be.
So
and I
you're
want everyone
saying-
to be free and do what you want, and I'll do what I want, hopefully, and we'll just make each other happy.
Are you saying what is okay? It's like as long as you're happy, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm like I'll try.
If
your
she
thing.
wants to
I'll
slap
try
you
your
in the
thing.
face, you're
Yeah.
like, if that does it for
yeah.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'd be okay with
Yeah,
that.
and that has happened. I've been really beat up. I've gotten
Really?
I've bled in the lip from a girl
Punching.
Yeah, and biting. I got bit in the lip so hard that I bled. I had to stop, and I went, that fucking hurt. And
Yeah.
and then she's like, sorry. And I was like, no, it's fine. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it hurt. Like it wasn't a
Was your safe
arousing
word,
thing.
ow, it hurt? That's your safe phrase?
Our keep going word was ow, that hurt. It was very confusing.
That's how you're on the right path?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting, man. And good for you for being explorative.
Yeah, why not?
I know why not. People get embarrassed. Do you want to talk about, like, if I had a girlfriend and she was like, I want to slap you, I would be like, okay, but I'm going to laugh.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna
it's hard
laugh.
to shut off that part of your brain, but at the same time, well, this is really, you've talked about this on the show. It's so great.
I've never had a guest say that.
I know.
I've talked about this on the show.
Oh, I listen to this show.
It does me so
I
well that you
fucking
say
listen
that.
to this.
I really appreciate that.
That's why I'm trying to avoid things that I've heard on the show before.
Sure.
Well, let's not talk about what an alt club is versus a club.
Yeah. So many times. Have I ever told you that I consider the alt rooms cardio and the clubs to be weight training? Jesus Christ. So what were you saying? Slapped in the face? Turn off the laugh?
Yeah, that I you know, when you end up sleeping with a girl, you've been funny that whole night. That's the only reason she wants to sleep with you in the first place, is that you were funny. And it's so nice. It does like funny is still. We're funny people. It
Yeah.
still kind of feels like work when you're making people laugh.
Sure.
Right?
There's a little bit of a plate spin to it.
Yes.
Everybody will
Now,
know when it ends.
A truly funny person is funny by himself. I think
You mean
when no one's watching.
Yep.
But that person's also a little crazy, probably.
I'm a big proponent of that. Me and Chelsea hanging out today.
Yeah.
We're doing Todd Barry going, take a left.
Yeah,
we
that's-
just
yes,
kept doing that, and
yeah.
then so I dropped her off to go into the place for the brunch, and then I was driving around alone, going, "It's a left. Pretty sure it's that left. I told you
great.
it was." And I was making myself laugh.
You're funny.
Also crazy,
But
a
yes,
little bit.
also a little bit crazy.
little bit.
But funny. Genuinely funny, I think.
crazy funny.
There's someone that's not just funny for people.
Right.
But is, just like...
It's kind of bubbling in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would
yeah.
call that
Their
the
quirks
spring
and stuff.
Yeah.
If someone was just watching you, they'd be like, that's weird that guy's doing that.
Right, little things you do for yourself.
Yeah.
May I?
Yes.
Sometimes when I'm washing dishes or something, I think it's very funny that I turn off my iPod or answer my phone with my nose. I mean, you could totally dry your hands, but I see myself in the opening credits of a Judd Apatow film going, this says something about me. I'm alone, my hands are soapy, and I want to skip this song, and I hit next track with my nose.
Right.
We get it.
Exactly.
He's a silly, hammy guy.
Yes, that's funny.
That's
That would have
an
that
alone
could have
moment.
been on a show as a little observational thing, and people would love it.
It reminds me of 40-Year-Old Virgin
Yes.
where he pees with the boner.
Right.
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
It's
how
a lifeism.
how he reacts to pissing all over
Yeah.
himself is funny because he's kind of light about it, and we get the character a little bit.
And it's relatable. Last night my thing that I did, I was gonna make a salad with. I was trying to get healthy.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm gonna make a salad. Got lettuce out and decided. And was like, okay, I have cheese, I have shredded cheddar, I'm
Yep.
gonna put that on there, and I have bacon bits, I'm gonna put on there. And then I realized the lettuce was not good anymore. So what I did was I literally made a parfait with bacon bits and cheese in a cup. Bacon bits and then cheese and then bacon bits on top and ate it just with a spoon.
That
And I was like, this is better than that. That's all I would have enjoyed about the salad anyway.
You're
and now
cutting
I'm
out the middle lettuce.
cutting out, and I'm going, well, I'm not going to do this every night, so this is fine.
Yeah.
And I do it every night.
And that would be the opening credits of the Harris Wittels
Yes,
movie.
that is me in a nutshell. It's
With like You Make 'Em a Dreams
Yeah.
Come True playing
Yeah.
and intercut with the girl you're going to meet.
absolutely, and
at
it's
the,
me having a good intention at the beginning of something, and then going, what's
It is.
the most fun thing to do?
And everyone would relate to that.
Yeah.
That idea of like it's almost like making a chocolate sundae with a kid and you end up eating the whole thing of whipped cream.
Right.
Playful, fun.
Yeah.
It started innocent
Yeah.
and then it ended with bacon.
But ultimately, like, also self-destructive because I was on pills, and so
Which pills?
I think last night was
What?
I probably take a different substance every day.
Really?
At some point, but in the hours before I go to bed, if it's pot or wine or Xanax or Vicodin.
What
or
Vicodin? What I don't know Vicodin.
Vicodin.
I feel like in There Will Be Blood where they go, is there sulfur around? He's like, there's some sulfur. I don't know, Kingsfoot or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm so sorry for
Do
that.
you like that movie?
I really, totally JK with Joe Mandy. I totally forced that reference.
I just watched Magnolia again since the first time that I saw it and didn't like it because I was too young.
Yes.
I watched it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's like the best movie.
That's also a movie that I reference on the show from time to time because Paul Thomas Anderson sat down and said, I'm going to write a good movie. People think that's so silly.
Right.
But I know I've said this on the show before, but the idea of declaring an intention, I don't think it's supernatural. I think it's like, I bet on Parks at the beginning of the show. Were you there from season 1?
Season 2.
Okay. I bet.
When it got good. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's what everyone says.
Of
That's
course.
everyone's complaint. It was a good show in season 1.
I bet when they started that show, they were like, let's do a good show. I bet
Yes.
the showrunners were like,
Yeah.
let's not fuck around.
Right.
And that helps.
Yeah.
Every show that I did, I was surprised that the showrunner wasn't like, guys, like I was just thinking about that today. The idea that when I get my show, let's speak positively and say when I get my own show, I want to take a picture with the writing staff holding Emmys and just hang it up and be like, that's going to
That's what
happen.
we're going for.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Right.
Almost like a sports team that have to tap some
Right.
sort of superstition. I want you to
Right.
tap the photo of us holding Emmys when we
Right.
go into the writer's
Right.
room because that's what we're fucking here for. So you just watched Magnolia and you loved it.
Yes.
Because it's great.
Yes.
When the frogs rain, and you know what's so great about that movie is you go, for me personally, it makes me cry. And I go, I'm crying at frogs raining. If you were to reverse engineer that movie and say, we're going to make people cry at frogs raining, I don't think you could do it.
Well, you know what? is interesting. I read. I don't know if you know this, but that was supposed to be cats and dogs.
No.
And it was too expensive or something, and it was. They were just like, all right, frogs. So there really aren't biblical implications or anything.
It was going to be cats and dogs?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that's what I read.
Well,
And
then they must have gone back because there's a lot of allusions to it.
Yes.
There's allusions to the biblicalness of it.
Right. But I don't
the
know.
kids rap and whatnot.
That could be a movie fact that's not real.
Who
But
knows?
I don't know.
Fucking Tom Cruise in that movie. You know I love Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
if you know that,
amazing.
but he's amazing in that movie.
But man, the frogs like can we talk about what it means to you?
Yeah, please.
Because I think it's about how sometimes sometimes shit just happens. Sometimes it's just coincidence just happens. I mean, the whole movie is about how
Right.
everyone how there's fate and everyone's lives are intertwined, and then sometimes weird, then there's sometimes shit.
Like it's interesting. I think you could take it two ways.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's serendipity is meant to happen. Frogs raining is like a cliche sign of purpose, I suppose, like a plague, like a sign from God.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or you could say that's how life is, which the movie kind of trips over itself saying. It's
Yeah.
like these things happen all the time.
Yes, that's actually the one part I don't like about the movie is when the narrator comes back in
When
and
at the
says,
end?
"These are all coincidences," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I knew that. You didn't have to let me arrive at that myself,
Yeah,
man.
narrating.
We got it. I was
Yeah.
happy because right before that moment, I was like,
You were getting it.
yeah, and then that makes it feel like I was
A little bit
cheating or
cheap.
something.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I got to watch it again. I find that movie very, very depressing, though.
Oh, it's profoundly depressing, but the most depressing movies are the most beautiful. Enter the Void. Have you seen
I
that?
haven't. I've heard it's good.
Most depressing, most beautiful. I love that movie.
It's on Netflix Instant. I'm going to
Yeah,
write down to
yeah.
see it. But that's also a drug movie. Let's talk about the other. You do Vicodin?
right. So
What are you, Eminem? That's how I know Vicodin. I don't know King's Foot.
blue and yellow purple pills.
Is that from?
That's his song, right? With
Really?
with D12, yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Before his
I
friend died.
took a break for a couple albums, but he talks a lot about
Yeah.
Vicodin. Bing, bing.
Yeah.
What does that do?
It's essentially like it's an opiate, so it's what heroin is.
That's
but
good.
it's made by the government,
So it's
FDA
okay.
approved.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to take it in small. But it's really makes
What's
it's
it
a body
feel like?
high.
It's like a whoa, 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 whoa.
No, that's
Nope.
like a whippet.
Whippet.
That sounded
But
like
that,
what a whippet
that
was.
passes though.
Yeah, I wish whippets were longer. If we're being honest.
Well, Whippets is supposed to. I don't want to be got kids say no to drugs, but it's just like the idea that I've done Whippets right after I got divorced.
Yeah.
When I went in my bender,
Right.
which was like what most of my friends are doing all the time. I remember being like, "Did you guys' wives leave you? Why are we out past 11?" And I remember I was in the back of UCB New York. With TJ, he's not shy about his use of nitrous,
Right.
And he gave me some, and I inhaled this ridiculous drug, and it's so sad what I'm about to tell you.
Did you know how to do it right? Did you do it with you breathe in and out a balloon?
No.
Or was it a little canister?
It was a little canister
Right,
on
okay.
whipped cream
Okay,
thing.
yeah.
I didn't do it right, or
Right.
I didn't do it extremely, I guess.
Right.
And then I just inhaled it, and as I exhaled, I said to TJ, my friend who knew I was sad, I went, "That's what I've been looking for." Like the feeling, because it made me feel happiness.
Yeah.
It made me feel happy, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh!" It was like in the fucking third terrible Matrix movie where Trinity goes above the clouds. You know what I mean? And just for a second, I saw happiness, and then
yeah.
I crashed back down into
and then
into
until
death.
you do your next one, and that's chasing the dragon.
But then, I'm happy to report that I'm not that kind of person. I would be like, that's happiness and that was fake, and I'm
Yeah.
going to run away from
you've
that.
gone long enough to where you're not going to become a drug addict.
Right.
I think.
It just doesn't feel in my composition.
Right.
I get off. That's actually one of my things I wanted to talk to you about was drive and what like really gets you off. I'm interested in money. I'm not me. I'm just
Yeah.
saying as topics of drive.
Right.
Money,
Right.
respect,
Yes.
fulfillment. And then there's just like these things that make us happy.
Well, I think ultimately my drive, beyond anything, is to fucking be able to do nothing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're like Peter Man in Office Space?
Yeah. Yes.
wanna do
Yeah,
nothing.
Absolutely.
Do you like that movie?
I love Office
'Cause
Space.
he's you.
That guy is my hero.
You want to do nothing.
Yeah.
Are you able to do nothing?
No, that's the
That's what's
conflict,
interesting.
is that I am a fucking workaholic. If I'm not writing
Right.
something, if I'm out, I go, I got to get home. I should really write that.
It's so funny. I was just today in therapy talking about how I don't really celebrate good things when they happen to me. When they happen,
Yeah.
I go, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, if I had, like, that's why, like, Jon Stewart, let's say Jon Stewart, David Letterman, anybody that has, like, a regular high-paying, high-profile, well-respected job, those guys could quit. They don't want
Can't
to.
do it.
What's crazy and what reflects on all of our lives is that truth, is that, like, there's always something else you're going to have to do. Otherwise, it's just navel-gazing and waiting for the sand to run out in the time.
Yeah, totally.
And that's insane.
Well,
So what we're really looking for is something to really fill our time and
'cause-
really make us feel like life is happening.
yes. And there's also a study that says that, like, how our brain chemistry and how we feel right now versus a homeless person is the same. That they have adapted to that setting. Like,
that's
we have
interesting.
adapted to this. And it's just frame of reference.
So,
And
your highs and lows are kind of similar.
Yeah. And so, you know, when I got hired at Parks, I was fucking awesome. That was a dream come true. And then my brain immediately evened itself out, and that was just my new
Right.
plateau, my new reality.
I was just talking to Neil Brennan about this,
Yeah.
because he's loaded.
Yes.
I don't think he'd mind us saying.
Right.
He's a rich man.
I think
richest
I think that
friend.
rich people love when other people call them rich because they can't do it.
You know what's funny is
themselves.
I've said that to him.
Yeah.
I call him and I try and crack him up talking about how
Right.
much money he
Right.
has and how he has a place here and a place there. I don't even know if he does. I'm just speculating
Yeah.
what it must be
Right.
like. And he wouldn't say a word of that, but I bet he enjoys it.
You're rich. I'll say that.
You dick.
You bought. I remember you bought us all lunch in Montreal,
I
at
do
the
like-
Montreal
I-
airport at
I-
Houston, not Houston's.
Oh, that's right.
But at Houston.
I do like that.
It was garbage.
No, I like giving.
But
I like giving.
Yes, and then you go, I got it, and I went, oh shit, all right, piece one of those.
No,
he's doing
what was
all right.
that? What was that? $20 a plate.
There were like 5 of us, and yeah, it was 20
$100.
People that we know don't just throw around
You're right.
$100.
Well, you just outed me because I just made it sound like $100 wasn't a lot of money, and to a lot of people, $100 is a lot of money.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. But this is what I was talking to Neil about.
Mark the time on this.
No, leave it in. Leave it in. I want them to hear. But what I was talking to Neil about and talking about how rich he is, and you're right, by the way. I love people talking about how you're doing okay
Yeah.
off mic.
Right, absolutely.
But you talked to Neil, and I was like, he was telling me about a study that I think the number is something like maybe $100,000 or something. And once you reach that, there's no difference between you and like a multimillionaire. Because like that's
No difference how? Like
in your brain.
Oh, okay.
And like your brain goes, I now have enough money.
Right.
Meaning, and it might not be 100, it might be like a 200.
you can eat when you want to eat.
You're
You
like,
can go
I have
see
money.
movies when you want to see
Right.
yeah.
And then a multimillionaire, you'd think they'd be able to get into that ecstasy and go like, oh my God, I have $1 billion. But really, they feel pretty similar to a guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's holding down low
Well,
6 figures.
That's why it's super funny that when that crazy
You're welcome
lottery
for lunch, by the
jackpot. Also, that my review was that it was shitty.
It was
really
terrible.
mean of me,
It
but
was
it was
terrible.
a bad meal.
It was terrible.
It tasted like camp burgers.
Yeah.
They were very campy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
But that
That was a fun lunch, though.
It was super fun. We
Who
watched
else
a
was
video that we definitely can't say on mic that our friend Joe Mandy made.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was.
I wish he
glorious.
would put that video online.
He can't.
He never can. But now the listeners are going to think there's some video of Joe
all-
killing puppies
He
or
never
something.
can.
He never can. It was just well, we can't even talk about it. It's fine. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm
Tweet at
sorry.
Joe Mandy.
I brought it up.
Say
Yeah,
what was
ask-
that? What's
yeah.
that video that Pete says
Yeah.
you can't release? Do that.
He'll send it to you. He's a rap skanking.
He is. He's an
And,
internet rascal. So that meal. Who else was?
Oh, it was you, me, Mike Cassidy, Mike Mitchell, Matt Bronger. It was just like,
yeah,
what's funny at the end of the Montreal in general is just weird people coming together.
yeah.
Weird comedians hanging out.
Yeah, eating at
in
Houston's.
groups that you wouldn't hang out in.
That's what's so great
And that
about
van ride to the airport was super funny. And there was
it. We have
a
some
lot
good
of
vans.
Yeah.
Comedians resent being like, I bet that van ride's real funny, but like sometimes, sometimes
yeah.
it is. The van from
Yeah.
the airport to the hotel with a bunch of comedians
Right.
can go one of two ways: real bad or super hilarious. And sometimes it's super hilarious.
You know why it's good is because people are always figuring out what the next place they want to go is, or
Yeah.
or attention splayed. And when you're fucking stuck in a van, you're all stuck in a van,
Right.
And you're gonna make it fun. You're gonna communicate with each other,
And you know your audience. Your
Yeah.
audience is other comedians.
Yeah.
Was that the van that had Marcus from Fox in it?
No,
No, that was another good van. I remember. I remember all the good van rides.
I had a good van to the hotel with TJ and his then girlfriend. I don't know if there's. I don't know. But
I don't know.
oh,
I don't know who he was with at the time. Not that he
right.
gets around.
well, that's what that
We've
implication
disparaged
is.
TJ twice. We do nitros with him, and he's a man whore.
But
He
we
isn't,
were
he isn't.
having a fun time, and it was us, and then God, which Simpsons showrunner was it? Who? It
Al
was those
Jean?
two guys that were there. No, it was Mike Reese.
Mike Reese.
Yeah, and it was him, and that's like a really funny group of people to have in a van.
Oh, I love a good van.
Yeah.
I love a good van. I don't know where to bring us back to, but I do want to talk about home owning because that, speaking of being successful and stuff, interesting to me. I have this fear of buying lunch. I'm not Neil Brennan, and I'm also not poor, I suppose you would say. But I don't want to buy a house.
I like if that's the scale, is poor or Neil Brennan.
On a scale between poor and Neil, where would you say you are? But like the thing that I'm afraid of, and I think it's kind of immature of me perhaps, is that I'm afraid of being on the grid. You buy a house.
Yes.
Now you're paying taxes and a mortgage, and then like you own it. It's your responsibility. You have to like upkeep it and stuff. Whereas like if a meteor hit my street and my apartment was destroyed, I'd be like, well, that sucks. I guess I won't be mailing them rent.
Right.
'Cause
Well,
it doesn't
right.
exist anymore. As I'm saying this, I don't like my opinion.
Well, I understand that. Not the meteor thing. You get insurance and stuff for that sort of thing.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
it is a fucking hassle.
But
And
what-
if you want to get really weird,
Yep.
I've recently hired an assistant to help me
Great.
so I don't deal with any of that shit.
Yeah.
And it goes back to me wanting to be able to do nothing.
It's so fucking funny that you say that. In therapy today, I consider this a bit of a rain frog moment because I don't talk about that all the time. I was talking to my therapist that the goal is to have people, I think anyone listening can relate to this, have people take care of those things that you don't want to think about.
Yeah.
Business managers, I don't even know what that is.
Right.
My therapist was like, well, eventually you might need a business manager. And I was like, what is that? He's like, well, they pay all your bills and you don't even handle your money. This is how people get extorted.
Yeah. It's
You know,
true. You got to trust your business manager.
You got to trust him.
but-
He can write checks on your behalf and all this stuff.
Yes, but also you can, I check. I have a business manager. I check in on my account.
You got to check
You
it.
just check in on it.
But then,
every so
like,
often.
now you have somebody that potentially, and I've thought about hiring an assistant
Yeah.
too, because it sounds kind of fun, and you want them to pick up some tomatoes from Whole Foods or whatever.
Literally, like if I just go, like I have bad cell service at my place, and I know cell phone boosters exist. I don't even know a website to start on.
Yeah.
Can you get that for me?
Yeah.
Cut to 2 days later, it's there.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Cell phone booster worked?
Cell phone boosters work great.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, right next to Enter
Do
the
you have
Void,
AT&T?
all right. Yeah.
Okay, they'll provide you, I think, with a free one even, because it's part of they have to do that.
Because it's so bad?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so it's just little...
This is one of those interesting areas that I'm worried about alienating people listening, but at the same time, I'm interested in this part of life.
Right, it sucks. I understand how douchey it is.
Well, that's why I was like, "Fuck you, man! You're
Right.
27 and
Right.
you're doing these things." So,
But
for
here's
those
the deal: is that I didn't get it for the vanity. I had to finish a book and 2 features and a pilot and act in a pilot. That was
Right.
5 things that I was doing at once.
Right.
And
But here's
I was
this-
going crazy.
Yeah. The kicker is
Yeah.
5 awesome things.
Great things.
That's why
Time-consuming
See,
things.
this is what I
Not
want
complaining.
this podcast. No.
Yeah.
This is what I want this podcast to be. How we really talk.
Yes.
Comedians.
Yes.
We never apologize for complaining about. Like I want it
Right,
to be
you're
a
right.
little bit inside baseball.
Yeah.
If you and I were just eating omelets, there would be no part of me going like, "Well, we better explain that we're not bad people."
Right.
You know what I mean? But
It's
like,
just life. That's
it
life.
just
Yeah.
is life. You
Yeah.
are doing 5
well,
awesome
this
things.
is why people are shitting on the show Girls right now, which is a good show.
I didn't see it.
But everyone's saying, well, I don't want to see... There was a backlash on the internet because it got so many good reviews. And everyone's, I don't want to see privileged fucking 20-year-olds. That's
Right.
not relatable.
Right.
It's like, well, neither is fucking There Will Be Blood. We're not oil men. But that's interesting to see any group of people
Yeah.
under a microscope.
Right.
'Cause,
Although
there's
Entourage, this goes back to lifestyle porn.
Yeah.
I like watching shows where people have assistants and stuff.
Right.
I love watching whatever.
It's
I haven't
aspirational.
watched.
It's aspirational.
It is aspirational.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that must be nice because fucking Vinny goes around ripping bong hits
Right.
and fucking prods
And
all
Turtle
day.
goes and buys shoes.
And Turtle buys shoes and they live in a big house.
in a heat wave, no less.
Yeah.
In the valley.
Yeah, he
The
goes
movie
and buys
shuts down.
shoes.
Sam Levine's there.
Yeah, okay. All right. Very specific. And I like watching that and going, oh, they have someone to clean their pool and stuff. I don't think that makes us bad people. I think we can have two things happening simultaneously, which happens a lot on the show. You can be a good, decent person that understands that a lot of people don't have it that nice, and also be a douchey guy that just wants to have an assistant.
Yeah.
Or not even be douchey, but just be like, I need an
I
assistant.
try not to flaunt it, but all I want to do is just enjoy life and
focus on your art.
and be able to make comedy. That's
Right.
it.
And the more that we can focus on just kind of kicking around and stuff, the more we can create this stuff, this juice that we need to
Yeah.
fuel the machine.
Yeah,
Although,
in LA, it fucking takes a chunk out of your day to drive an hour to the
Yeah.
fucking Mac store.
I know.
An hour back.
yeah.
And I got to be writing a
Yeah,
I have to be.
and that's a very unpleasant ride for you. You're sweating and you're thinking about the work that you
Yes,
could be doing.
yeah.
However, quote Sinbad.
Sure.
I think this has happened on the show maybe once
The Sinbad
because
quote.
we've had like 800 hours. It's
Right.
it's the 800th hour, so I'm going to start. I'm going to remain repeating myself.
Okay.
Sinbad said, "Comedians are funnier when they're taking the bus." And I believe that there might be some truth to that. Mm-hmm. And I think about that from time to time. I don't have assistants, but
Well,
I do have my own car.
sure.
And if I didn't have my own car, like when I was in Bridgetown,
Okay.
Jesse Case and I were hanging out, and I flew to Portland because I have American money, and
Sure.
I'm going to take an airplane.
Right.
Jesse is on the up. And he fucking drove from L.A. with two knuckleheads, one of whom took a bag of mushrooms the moment he got in the car. So Jesse, who was going to swap shifts with this guy, now
Yeah.
he's tripping balls. Jesse has to drive the whole ride.
Right.
He gets there. He's been up for 19 hours, and then he does a set. And I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed sipping a cocktail in the sky.
But he's got a fucking great story.
But he does have a great story,
Yeah.
and that's the stuff of memoir. That's the
But,
stuff of real
yes,
comedy.
That shit doesn't go away though. It's just different setting. Larry David. That's
You're right.
Yeah.
What are you, fucking good? That's great. That's right. It's almost like what we were saying about a homeless person and a rich person having similar brain
Yeah.
chemistries.
Yeah.
Larry David has found a way to be paranoid, upset, and afraid,
And it's
even at
fine.
his level.
There's that video that went viral of him in the shopping in a parking garage last week. And
I didn't see it.
he was supposed to get a free $5 free hour of parking. And
Yeah.
the ticket wouldn't come out. And he was yelling at the machine, and he was saying, "I'm not paying you." Like he's yelling at this thing. Larry David could pay $5.
Sure.
Someone's taping this with their cell phone, and it's hilarious.
Yes.
And everyone can relate to that. You're not thinking in your head like, just pay your fucking. Larry
I think
David. I know I got a house. I think it's fucking awesome and crazy. I'm 27. Yeah, it's strange. It's weird.
Yeah.
But going back to our earlier point, that was one of those moments where my first night in that house, I stood there and I was like, I'm going to be sure to fucking remember this moment as a moment and not get jaded about this, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I did this.
Yeah.
This is great. I worked hard and I fucking did this.
You now
And it felt good.
Tell me about your house. Where is it?
It's in Los Feliz.
Los Feliz. And you had roommates
I
before you
lived
got a
with-
house?
Yeah, the same two dudes for 10 years, met in college, best
Bebop
friends of
and
mine.
Rocksteady?
Exactly. You know them? They were in that movie. They were in the Ninja Turtles movie. And they were slobs.
Yeah.
And they killed people.
Yeah. They kept busting
But,
through
yeah.
walls and going,
So,
totally rad. You're like,
which
fucking
loses its charm after.
Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Fucking go to bed. Totally cool. Bebop. Fuck you
Leave
guys.
those turtles alone.
What
Go
do
to
you even
bed.
want them for?
Yeah, what do you care?
Wearing
You're all
army
mutants.
fatigues.
Relate to them.
Yeah, there's like 8 mutants in the
yeah,
world.
fucking band together.
And you're fighting each
You're
other?
fighting for this weird
Yeah.
knife man.
And he's not even a mutant.
He's not. He's just a mean Chinese
He's a
man.
mean Chinese man whose Chineseness I feel like was downplayed. He always
He is Chinese, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so's the Splinter and he were friends.
Well,
think.
Splinter. Oh, you're right. They showed a flashback, right?
I think they were chums.
Right.
I'm going on the cartoon.
I'm going on the movie.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Borat.
You didn't even
Oh,
do it in the voice.
Nice.
You just go very nice.
That's a thing in the Parks room too. Another room bit. If anyone says my wife
Yep,
at a story,
yep.
someone goes Borat. Someone just be like, my wife is on the phone. Borat.
That's great.
But they don't say like my wife. They just say my
I've
wife.
been doing my wife, and insisting that it's funny again.
It is. It's always
it's
funny.
back.
So you can find some level to enjoy that.
High five.
Yeah.
It's back. It's back. Like you know how Letterman will do a joke so long that it's not funny and then it's back.
Yeah.
We're in the third act of Letterman right now with Borat.
Yes.
My wife. I love it. So you had these two knucklehead roommates. Are they writers as well?
No, one's a songwriter and one works at Modern Family as a post coordinator, producer type.
Oh, cool.
But
so you bought.
So we moved into this house in North Hollywood, and it was a 3-bedroom, and it was pretty shitty. It was fine. It was just a house.
Yep.
And then their girlfriends moved in with us for a little bit. So it was all of us, and I loved their girlfriends. It was great. It was like having moms around. You can relate.
I do.
Yeah,
You
there's
mean
a lot of
just
mom
with my
stuff
love
on this
of women.
show. Yeah,
I love
just
women.
being mothered.
Yeah, just need women around all the time.
Yeah.
I really do.
You and me and Paul Russ should get together and talk because Paul Russ is very open about mom stuff too.
Oh, really? Are you into that?
Well,
This is worth interrupting your house story.
Yeah,
What
you're
is
right.
What is your family dynamic?
well, a very supportive Jewish mother that I'm made fun of. This is name droppy as fuck, but Sarah Silverman would always say that I'll never be in a relationship long because a girl will never love me as much as my mother did.
Yeah.
That's her analysis of it. Because I break
that's
up
what
with,
she says about you.
Yes.
Yikes.
That is what because I've dated some great girls
Harris,
and I can't stay with them.
You're making it weird.
Yeah, good.
Because that feels to me like the disturbing blanket. It's comfortable to me, and I'm also like, this fucking blanket again?
Right.
Because, I don't know if I've ever heard it articulated that way. But look, as I was saying in my sociopathic test, the model of love that we learn from our women, men learn female love from their mothers.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like, you have a woman, a new woman, that in this weird psychological way is supposed to replace your mother.
Absolutely. Well, why do you think men like tits? You think just because of the shape of them?
Yeah.
No, you got milk from that.
Yeah.
You fucking weirdo. Every jock on the planet that just wants.
I have a bit about breast milk.
Really?
I'm doing it now, and I'm like, we should be so much more fucked up than we are. The first thing we did was drank by going to second base with our moms.
Yeah, it's
and we
weird.
loved it.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We would cry when it was taken away from us. And now the fact that you're not on heroin is a miracle. It's a miracle.
I am on heroin.
Well, you're on FDA-approved heroin. But I mean, like, you should be on more heroin.
yeah.
I'll adapt the bit
I should
for
be on
you.
actual heroin.
Yeah. That's really, really true and really, really weird. But I have to think that you and I can both evolve and just get over that.
Right.
You're younger than I am. I've been around the barn a couple more times than you. And are you in therapy?
I go in and out of it. After a bad breakup, I'll go into it hard.
Yeah.
And then kind of be like, all right, I'm fine again.
But so you're breaking up with these girls who don't really know what they did? Is that what's happening?
They nothing
Or maybe they
really
didn't
got
do
fucked
anything.
up. Yeah, I just like at a certain point.
But do you get tired?
Yeah,
If you
I just
did
get tired of relationships.
If you did date someone that loved you like your mother. Oh, I love when we get weird.
yeah, this is super weird.
If you dated someone that loved you in the way that your mother does, and my mother also loves me in that way. Everything I do is okay. Even if I affront her core values, she'll
Yes.
still be like, well, Pete's affronting my core values, and I kind of see his point. There's nothing that she wouldn't hear me out. It's just the model of kind of like almost inappropriate unconditional love. Like, there should be some boundaries here.
Yeah.
But if you dated somebody that loved you like that, a
Right.
girl that dated you like that, wouldn't that get old?
yes, I think what I need to do
'Cause
is
don't you
learn
hate
to
yourself?
not need the love of someone that much or something.
Right.
To just be okay on
Be a self-validating thing.
Yeah, just be self-validated.
Renew your own
Right.
bathwater.
Which is
instead of getting
very
a girl
hard to do. Yeah.
pull the plug for you and
Yeah.
refill you and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
I'm getting there.
Well, I think knowing that as
Yeah.
a thing is one of the very important steps to getting
Well,
there.
that's why I thought therapy was bullshit forever, is because, okay, so now I know this. Now what? You can't change my brain.
But you can.
But yeah, you kind of can't.
That was one of the big things in therapy for me, was talking to my mom about that. That was the most practical, unbelievably therapeutic things. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Which was talking to my mom and being like, Mom, your love for me is kind of fucking up my relationships. I know that's a weird thing to say because she didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I had to be like, you got to get out of this room. I
Right.
always like to think of my brain and my life as a house. And I'm like, that room is locked for moms. And I got to get a woman in there. She belongs in there. Mom doesn't belong in there. Beat it, Mom. I love you so much. Thank you for everything.
Yep.
Please fucking
Yep.
hit it. Beat it. Go downstairs with Dad.
You talked to her about this?
Yep. She's probably heard that exact analogy.
And she was receptive. And
She was receptive. She wasn't even that defensive.
Right.
She was perfect.
Well,
she loves me perfectly.
Moms want you to go find a woman and have a grandchild for them.
Yes, but there's always creepy competition. Jamie Lee, we dated. We're still really good friends. We're not romantically correct for
Right.
each other.
Right.
But I think she's the best.
You guys are still doing that show together.
What show? Kid Farm.
Kid Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to
Yeah.
do things together, which just
So
because
you-
she's the best.
You've maintained a healthy relationship with how many of your exes, would you say?
It's her. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh,
In
because you
fact-
haven't had many relationships.
No, and I will let you interview me, by the way. That's something we've learned about the show. I will let you do this.
Right.
I've had, 3 real girlfriends, I suppose.
Okay.
And
And then one turned into a wife,
yeah. Yep.
and so that's not good.
That
anymore.
happened. Well, if we're counting her, I'm thinking there was... yeah, pretty much 3 girlfriends, but they were all for a year.
Right.
And Jamie's the only one that we were she says that all the time. She's like, we stayed together for the Kid Farm.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. Well, she's hilarious.
She's funny.
She's super funny. Do you want to marry a Jewish girl?
I don't give a shit about religion at all, but my parents would love for me to marry a Jewish girl.
Yeah.
And it probably would make the raising of a kid easier. Of all right, yeah, he'll be bar mitzvahed or something.
Right. They'll have that
discussion
cultural
doesn't
identity.
even- yeah, cool.
It's also kind of I don't know, there's something comforting about, actually, Jamie, when we were in Portland, I don't know if this is okay to say, she got a stomach ache. We went to brunch and she got a stomach ache and I was just like, you're such a Jew. Because I love her. I love her and I love Jewish people. I'm in a room with 2 Jewish people.
They bellies be aching.
Bellies be aching,
Yeah.
IBS, all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a delightful thing, but that joke, that intimacy there, I think there's something kind of fun about you making fun of if I married an Irish girl or something,
Right.
we could make fun of the different
Right.
things you have for Irish.
Right.
We love a good melancholy.
Right.
You fucking Irish person.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Katie, were you okay with my Jewish joke to Jamie? It's okay, right?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
We're
Fuck
comedians.
Jews,
Always say
I don't care. I don't care.
Oh my God. I don't approve of that statement.
You know
sir.
why I don't even care about religion at
Why?
all is because
Wow, we've merged
I
seamlessly.
don't think that God is real.
Uh-huh.
And so all that means is that they're stories, and they're bad stories.
Well, there's
They're
something...
boring stories to me, so I don't even want to talk about it. I don't care about it.
That's interesting. But what about we're talking and for me, for a guy that likes to look for meaning in most things, how many times during this conversation have I been like, that's so weird, I was just talking about that today.
Yeah,
And that to
Yeah.
me is enough sustenance to keep my spiritual curiosity alive.
Okay.
That's all I need.
Right.
I'm like a spiritual cactus.
Right.
Just give me a little bit of what the fuck, that was kind of cool, and I'll keep looking for it for a month or 6 months or whatever. And I'm with you that they could just be stories, but there's got to be some reason we keep telling the same stories over and over and over, different cultures telling the same stories over and over and over. And there's some of that goes back to this is what is it? The Power of Myth. Have you ever seen The Power of Myth?
No.
They talk about all the different religious stories and how in different planting cultures they all have similar stories about growing and dying and rebirth. Kind of like Jesus, and how the advent of farming and agriculture changed the way we told stories,
Yeah.
which is really, really interesting to me.
Sure.
But then there is something about grace and forgiveness, and then looking for meaning and the power of our mind. Does that stuff interest you at all?
Yeah, but I watch 6 Feet Under for that.
What do you
instead
mean?
of-
I haven't seen that show, so tell me.
Well, that's also just an example of I watch movies and TV and read books to
Modern
to
myth.
get my morals,
Yeah.
my moral stories, because that's all the Bible is just it's moral stories, right?
I suppose you
For
could,
the most
you
part,
could
that's
say
what
that it's moral
the
stories.
Torah. That's what it seems like to me. Is the burning bush, it's a lesson.
Yeah, lessons.
And I get my lessons from. I'd much rather watch Sopranos than
Well, it's
go
interesting.
to temple.
So you're getting some faith from Sopranos.
I'm learning about life, and I'm learning about people in the same way that churchgoers are. And I get my religion from, if I go to a fish show, that honestly, I get my fill of community
worship.
and worship of this band.
Fish.
Yeah.
Well,
Everyone has something.
We're both mushroom lovers.
Yeah.
When you're deep into a mushroom trip, you
Yeah.
probably feel pretty close to something that you might understand to be called as God.
No, I feel very connected to people, to humanity.
Interesting.
Yeah, and nature.
And all of us.
Yes.
Like a united, like I am all of
like
us.
never before. I in my head right now, I realize that we're all molecules and connected, but then you really feel it when
Right.
you're on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Or acid.
Do you feel? Oh, you've done acid too.
Yeah, I love acid.
You love acid.
Yeah.
I never meet people that love acid.
It's so much better than mushrooms.
Shut up.
It is.
I won't do it.
It's so good.
I can't be doing acid.
Mushrooms is your body going, oh, this is poison. Let's react. I'll try to make this pleasant for you, but it's poison.
Yeah.
And acid is like just made for good times.
But how come all I hear is that, like, whenever I hear, like, okay, so I took some mushrooms and I had a bad trip. And it's funny, the girl that was there actually just Facebook. See, that's all I need. She Facebook messaged me today.
Right.
And she called herself B Story because that's a writing term. While we were all having this bad trip, everyone was worried about these dogs.
Yeah.
And I kept calling the dogs the B Story. And I was like, why do you keep giving a shit about the fucking B Story? I'm stuck in a psychological prison. And the B Story, oh, the fucking dog stepped on something. I'm losing my mind.
Was this after you had been in the writer's room on Outsourced?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just ingrained in your
It's
nature
in me
to think
now.
of-
In
yeah.
fact, I jump cuts and all that sort of stuff is all in me.
That's, yeah.
But when I was on this bad trip, the thing that told me I was about to have a bad trip was I looked at my hand. I was playing guitar and I had 10 fingers. It's actually pretty basic. Your eye is going through something and it's doubling a
Yes.
lot of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's not that scary.
Right.
But for some reason, being on the drug and seeing that, I was like, I have 10 fingers
Yeah.
on one hand.
Yeah.
And then everyone's reaction to that was, oh, that sounds like acid. And they were like, and then they tried to push on the lure that some mushrooms have
No.
acid on them.
Sounds like ecstasy, if anything, because you
Ecstasy
get
does
tracers.
it?
That's when you get
Oh.
tracers. But I don't. Acid, you get the same visuals as mushrooms. It's just like patterns and.
Really?
I don't.
Like
I never,
like hexagons? And,
Yeah, like fucking. It looks like you're looking through a kaleidoscope when you're peeking.
Right.
But I've never saw a tree talk to me. I've never had any of that shit on anything. I've never.
Yeah.
Really, it's just like, your brain works at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yep.
And you struggle to get a thought out there.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
But you feel warm and good. I first of all, I'm still going to go on the record and say I don't want to do acid, but I would love to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Does it give you that warm feeling? Is it a hippie kind of feeling? Is it that connecting love sort of feeling?
It's the same.
I feel like-
You're a toddler. That's which mushrooms gives you a lot
Right.
of.
Yeah, you're a child.
Yeah, you're everything is new to you and you're exploring and everything's funny to you and,
Really?
and new to you. And it's so great.
I'm just thinking about my friend. I don't think he'd mind saying his name, but I won't. He took acid, and then he started having a panic thing, and he went in the bathroom. And something about the way he was sitting on the toilet, kind of crouching on it, made him think of a wolf. And then he was like, oh, I'm a werewolf. And he looked at his hands, and he saw hair and stuff, and probably his own hair, but then it was exaggerated.
Right.
And he was like, I'm a werewolf. And he was like, if I go out into the living room, my friends are going to realize I'm a werewolf, and they're going to kill me. That sounds horrible. That doesn't sound like something that would happen on mushrooms.
I think that listen, yeah, that could happen on either, I will
Really?
say. Well, that guy maybe he's a little off center in life.
Yeah, maybe. Although you're right. I think that probably could happen with mushrooms.
It's
All
the
of
same.
this
It
stuff-
really is the same feeling, kind of. I think mushrooms are a little more flowy,
Yeah.
and acid's a little more jagged. If I can put it in two,
Yeah, great.
Yeah, flowy
Is it the
versus
type of
jagged.
drug that when you're in it, you're like, there's no way to describe this?
yeah. Well,
I
to
often-
describe it, I mean, mushrooms is that. It really
yeah.
is very close. But
Okay.
it lasts for 8 hours, and for me, it's more mischievous or like you're
Wait,
having
acid
fun.
lasts 8 hours.
Yeah, instead
so
of
it's
4.
longer.
Yeah, it's twice as long.
Twice as long.
Right.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
remember being on mushrooms. See, I haven't done mushrooms in a year because
Right.
since my bad trip, I was kind of like, I'm going to take a
all
nice
it takes. Yeah.
long break. Nice long break. It wasn't even that bad, but I would be terrified to take a synthetic thing.
Well, you haven't taken ecstasy?
No, I had some and I gave it away
Oh,
because I was terrified of it. It had like a little logo on it,
Yeah.
like a fucking Pac-Man ghost
Right,
on it.
right.
I was like, this is just not my scene. Give me something that came to this earth on a fucking meteor, and it's a blessing
that's
from the universe.
That's fine, but you would love it. And I'm not I don't think.
Welcome
people,
to a segment we call peer pressure.
I
No, that's
don't.
great.
I don't encourage anyone to do ecstasy because
Sure.
that's the one drug that will ruin your brain.
Is that
It's
right?
the one drug, yeah, because it actually
I
depletes your
have-
serotonin. It will fuck you up.
We both have friends,
Yeah.
of course we won't say them, that I know have done a shit ton of ecstasy.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you've done a shit ton
right,
of ecstasy.
right. Oh well, listen, I've done a lot of ecstasy.
Yeah.
I did it
But
at a
you
young
don't
age. I
feel
went
like
to
a-
raves.
Yeah. Moshe didn't either. He was one of the raves.
But he didn't do ecstasy.
No,
I
he
think,
didn't.
Right?
But I was just going to use him as also an
Yeah.
example of someone who he's done his things.
Yeah.
And you've done your things, and you don't seem burnt out though.
No, but I do think that I mean, how sad is this going to sound? Maybe just you get less happy at becoming an adult.
You get less.
But
what do you
I
mean?
was going to say that I think I probably was overall happier in general
before
I did a bunch of ecstasy.
That's really interesting.
But
to
I
me,
also
man.
wonder if I've just ignorance was bliss, and now I'm an adult, and you just become more.
It's a hard thing. Your brain
I don't
can
know.
go one of two ways. I didn't smoke pot until I was 28, and then I smoked pot, and then like your brain then knows that that's one of the ways you can feel. So there's an inherent depression to not feeling
Right.
that way all the time.
Right.
Some people's reaction to that is to chase the dragon, as you were saying. My reaction was, I'm going to stay away from that thing that makes you artificially feel good, and I'm going to stick to the things that actually make you feel good. Career, like we were talking about, respect,
Right.
fulfillment, love.
Yes.
That sort of stuff is more refillable than drugs.
You're totally right, and that's why I haven't done ecstasy in years because of that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, that nothing can compare to that.
Right.
And
But
so I need to stop doing that.
Right.
Because it makes life very bleak.
Right.
In comparison.
it's that cliche of you have to. It's like I got this from Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
You got to go high on a roller coaster, and then that gets you a rush, and then you have
Right.
to take them to feel normal, sort
Right.
of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think we should work on our own natural. That's why. Does meditation or any of that stuff interest you? Because the idea that
I
I'm
get it.
taking
I
a
can't
drug,
do it, but I get it.
Yeah, right. I've been giving this a lot of thought. You want to get really weird?
Yeah.
I'll get weird with you.
It's already gotten quite weird, but
This
go
has been
ahead.
this has been hands down one of the
Great.
funniest episodes and one of the weirdest episodes
Great.
by far. So
All I wanted.
great job.
That's
Thanks
all
for
I
coming.
wanted.
When I take mushrooms, I'm kind of like, it's weird that my brain is responding to this thing that I ate, but my brain is doing the work.
Right.
My brain is creating the visuals. My brain is releasing the serotonin. My brain is making me feel and experience everything. It's just reacting. It's being ignited by the substance that I took. And that's why I'm like, maybe that's why some people are so fascinated with meditation. Maybe that's why some people devote their lives to it. And Duncan Trussell and I were talking about like these monks and stuff that take acid and it has no effect on them because they're just kind
Wow.
of always living in a state of acidness.
Or it was bunk acid.
Well, he told a really good story. I don't want to repeat it. Was it on this podcast or his? I'm not sure. But he told a story about this guy that was just like, I called him Blanket Man, just one of these Tibetan kind of monk guys that used to take the guy who made all the acid for the Grateful Dead.
Timothy Leary or something?
Yeah,
Ken Kesey?
I don't even know if I'd know it if you
Okay.
said it. But he gave this monk this acid,
Right.
and like intending him to take a little bit, and he threw it all in, and nothing happened.
Wow.
And then he came back again, and he was like, "You think I tricked you? That's why you're back." And he was like, "Here, let me show you. I'm not like palming it or anything." Put it all in his head, and again, nothing. It was just like completely normal.
Wow.
So then I was like, "Oh, now I get it." I used
Their
to
brain
think
is just on another plane.
they've woken up from the dream,
Right.
the illusion of reality. This is the weird thing that I was going to put at you.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that some people, please don't think that I'm a psycho.
Okay.
Some people believe very strongly that when you go to sleep at night, your spirit
Mm-hmm.
leaves your body. And then it goes into the astral plane or whatever, and that's where it recharges. That's what's happening when you sleep. So every night your spirit kind of leaves your body and then comes back in. That's a pretty big buy for the first part of this story.
Sure.
I'm with you. If you checked out right there, I get it.
No, I'm in.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I love green lights. Don't give me red lights. Let's see what happens if we only hit green lights. So that's part A. Part B is some people try and stay awake. It's called astral projection. They try and consciously, through meditation, leave their body in the way that you supposedly do when you dream.
Yes, I have a friend that can do that.
Okay.
Yes.
I cannot wait to ask you 5,000 questions.
Well, okay, yeah.
Because my point is, before I throw it to you completely, because I don't have any experience with this or whatever, apart from being a decent lucid dreamer, is the idea that some people, humans, like you and I, say that they can lie down in the middle of the day or at night and consciously leave their body. They see themselves leave their bodies, and then once in that state, completely conscious, aware, alert, remembering it all, can travel around not a make-believe dream world, but this world. Now, that's hard to... it's quantifiable. We could test this. I would actually like to test it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Write a message on this side of the room and just astral project and go in and read the message and then come and tell me what the message said. I don't know if they've done that sort of stuff.
Right.
All I care about is there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that say they do this, say they go into outer space, say they travel through time, say they go into the future, the past, into spirit realms. They see demons, angels, they meet Jesus, they meet fucking Santa Claus. I don't care. I don't care if that's a hallucination or if that's real. I kind of want in.
That sounds amazing.
Right?
Sounds like you should smoke DMT. Also. But also,
see, but the thing that's interesting about it is this is DMT without smoking something.
It's dreaming. I mean, that's just a dream state. But my friend that can meditate, my friend has told me that he has sometimes just replaces sleeping with meditating.
Yeah.
And doesn't fall asleep, but is more refreshed at the end of it than if he fell asleep.
That's great.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And that's what that is. And he's just meditating.
So, but is he actually projecting? Is he going around and seeing himself?
Well, he's told me that he has done that.
Oh, really?
But also, and I believe him, he's a very spiritual guy, and there's something about him that I'm like, this guy gets it.
You kind of feel it radiating
Yes,
off of him?
He's so zen, it's ridiculous. And
Really?
he's the best bass player I've ever seen on the planet Earth.
Fucking Dr. Seuss had. He's like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm leaving my body tonight.
He's truly awesome.
Yeah.
I grew up in Houston with him. He also told me a thing that he used to study karate, whatever, when we were very young. And he told me that and this was in like high school, so he wasn't a kid just lying. But apparently fireballs or energy balls actually do exist.
See, I want to believe that.
I know. I want to believe that, too.
I want to hit some green lights and see where we go.
Yeah.
Because does it end with you and I topless on the roof trying to throw fireballs? Good chance it does.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're topless, but
Well, just, I don't know.
own
It's
it.
more free.
More chi flowing.
How do we feel about our bodies right now? I'm not great about mine.
B minus.
That's great.
Okay, C plus.
Now we're talking.
C plus.
Me too.
Yeah, we could totally be doing better with bodies. So he said he could
But he
throw
said
a fireball?
that he said he couldn't, but he saw his sensei throw an energy ball from across the room and knock a guy over.
Really?
Yeah, and I want to ask him now. It's 10 years now. I go, were you lying to me about that?
Yeah.
I really want to ask him, but he swore to me that you can throw energy.
See, I love that. I don't want to live in a bubble where I know everything. I'd like to live in a world where I hear things like that and I feel everything. I feel challenged. I feel doubtful. I feel a little upset.
Yes.
Manipulated. Taken advantage of. You fool. And also like, is that real?
Yeah.
My a friend of mine that I went to school with used to tell me that he met this girl and they were all both like maybe 10, 11, 12. And he never forgets this girl who he still thinks might have been a witch. Right? And she used to say that she was a witch. And she used to like butterflies and shit would land in her hand and she'd be like, this is my grandmother or something just fucking insane. Sure. And then you'd keep seeing that butterfly over and over. And then he told me this story about like looking in her eyes at one point. Like she was like in a trance and he looked in her eyes and he said that looking in her eyes was like looking right into a floodlight. Like he had to like recoil because she was in this like weird state. You know what I mean? And this is a guy that, like, he and I have been really interested in the Salem witch trials and stuff because people love to shit on the Salem witch trials and be like, nothing was happening. And I'm right in that line with you.
Right.
Sure, it sounds like a bunch of hootenanny.
I am tired of people shitting on the Salem.
Well, when you grow up in the Northeast, you hear it a little bit more. Or something was happening.
Yeah.
There are accounts in the Salem witch trials of the afflicted children, the children that were saying Tituba had put a curse on them and stuff, bending over like entirely. You know what I mean? Like Exorcist style.
Yeah.
Like
the
climbing,
scariest thing that you can see.
doing insane shit.
Right.
Now, either these people who had devoted themselves to a life of purity and truth-telling decided, fuck everything, let's lie, or that's not the only explanation. Or maybe, what if something was happening? It could have been interesting.
Yeah, and I love that. I hope that there's weird shit.
I hope that kid more than anything, he saw a fucking Ryu-style fireball thrown at a kid named Ken.
Thank you. This is real quick but related, because I don't know how we are on time or what.
I don't know
if we got a signal.
Where we are.
When I was in preschool, I dropped a block on this kid's hand,
Yeah.
and no one fucking believes me. I saw this. This happened.
Yeah.
This blood came out of his hand. He really did bleed.
Yeah.
So I'm not making that up. It looked like blueberry yogurt. It was a light purple blood that came out of him. And I looked at him, and he looked at me like I saw something weird.
Right.
We both were like, this is fucking very strange.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what the explanation was to that. But it was one of those things where I was like, was that a fucking alien? What was that alien blood? What?
Yeah.
It was light purple. It was so weird. And I know I saw it.
Right.
And I don't have an explanation. But it's stuff like that I'm like, I'm glad that fucking weird thing happened.
Right. There's
mystery. I like mystery.
I think I've said this on the show before, but only once before. But there's a great Garrison Keillor story called Prophet.
Yeah.
I think you can get it on iTunes. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. And it's fake. But he tells this story about being at a 4th of July barbecue, and it snows, and everyone sees it. And then he's like, and then everyone denied that it happened. You know, like 15, 20 people.
Right.
And they were like, oh, it must have been the cotton tree or whatever, like the tree that looks like
Right.
white. And he's like, but that doesn't melt. This shit hit my plate, and then it melted. It was snow. It snowed on the 4th of July.
Right.
For 10 minutes, it was snowing.
Right.
And then no one was talking about it, and everybody just dismissed it. And he had to make in that moment a choice to either dismiss it as well or become a prophet. And he was like, and I chose to dismiss it. Because a prophet doesn't get to travel the country living off the fat of the land, doing Prairie Home Companion,
Right.
staying in swank hotels.
Right.
He's a freak, and he's the guy going, hey, I dropped that block on your hand and you bled purple. I think that's an alien. Get out of here. Beat it. You can't write for
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, you fucking weird purple blood
exactly.
seer.
Exactly.
Get
It's
back
weird.
in line. You want to own a house? I'm sure on
Right.
your deed it says something
Right.
like, and you never saw that blood.
Right. I'm either a liar or I'm crazy. But so instead, I just told you now. But really,
Yeah.
I buried that memory deep down because it's weird. It's just
Yeah.
it was a strange little thing that happened. But
I think that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. What about relationships? We haven't really talked about that too much. You are, you're a successful a young man.
Right.
You seem like on the fast track to becoming like an executive type.
hopefully,
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
that's bound to happen. We've already referenced that you're doing well, but you're also interesting and funny. So what is your deal? Are you dating people?
I think that I'm trying to find a girl that I can be with and
Share your house with?
share my house. I bought a house so that girls would like me.
Is that true?
That's
Is there
why
a
I
part of
do
it that you'd be
anything.
like, that's great. That's great.
When I have a date with a girl coming up, my dream is that she comes over first and then we leave from my house to the bar.
My version of that is I hope they're aware of my comedy.
That they've seen. I have
me.
that too, man.
Yeah.
Same with meeting famous people. I don't ever want to meet them unless they have.
So humiliating
Yeah.
if they haven't, because
Yeah.
they just win. I know we're being small right now, but
Right.
that sometimes people are small.
Yeah.
I would I went bowling with John Hamm. Katie was there.
Yep.
And the fact that I know he's seen me do some comedy makes me just go like, thank you.
You
'Cause
proved
I can't,
yourself.
I can't
You don't have
feel
to
like a
prove
little
yourself.
shit this
Yeah.
whole time.
Right.
Because I will.
Right. Oh yeah, and you just don't want to have to work that
And
hard.
I'll dance as fast as I
don't
can
wanna go-
to
you
win
s-
him over.
All right, I'm funny. Now we can be normal.
Right.
I don't have to fucking.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think you're being kind of beautifully honest. It's about something somewhat shallow, but it's true People think things like this all the time. If it's a nice shirt, a nice car, your house, you're like, I hope they see this. This is a sign I'm not a sociopath. I have enough money for a house, and I'm mature enough to move it around and invest it in a thing.
Right.
It's a type of commitment, too. You've committed
it's
to
a commitment.
house.
It's the same thing as like it's supposed to be. The best wingman is like a girl, because that a girl that
Yes.
sees you goes, oh, well, he's not crazy or an asshole because he's friends with the girl.
Not to be weird, I'm
Yeah.
great with flirting with girls when I'm hanging out with Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I always go, this is Chelsea.
Because-
she's the worst.
yeah.
Just so
Yes.
they know that she's not my girlfriend.
Yes, that's great.
This is my worst friend, Chelsea.
Right. You call her your worst friend. That's like a play on
Stuff
best
like
friend.
stuff like that. I'll be like, this is my worst
Yeah,
friend,
right.
Chelsea. And then we're in business because I'm not crazy. Here's a girl.
Right.
Here's a woman, and she likes me.
Right. So it just like it raises the baseline from stranger to something
Yes.
else. That's
yes.
better, you know.
And you have a house, and I think what is significant is that's
It's not why I bought a house for starters, but it is nice
Man.
to be able to have
Can I-
that in the pocket.
I'll tell you something a little embarrassing. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, I'll be at home and I'll hear my neighbor's TV, and I'll just go like, "Fuck it, I'm getting a house." Like, I can't get a house right now, but that's what's going to push me into a
Right,
house.
right.
Is I just want quiet.
Well, that's why when my roommates moved out to move in with their girlfriends, and I was paying a ton in rent because it was a 3-bedroom and
Yeah.
it's just me. But I was like, well, I don't want to ask anyone else to move in here,
Right.
And I can't go back to an apartment. I can't, you
Yeah.
know, and that sounds
From how?
shitty.
Yeah, from how?
It's hard to go back from how because of that, the TV and all that shit. Where you don't want to. I don't want to even have to fucking politely nod at someone at 9 a.m. I don't want to have to fucking do that.
because of TV writing.
No, because when you're in an apartment, you
Oh,
see your
I
fucking
understand.
neighbor on an elevator.
Hey, man,
I would buy a house just to get that moment out of my day.
I'll say this: I live alone. Fucking hilarious. I live alone, and there's no going back to roommates.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I can't tell you how fucking purely delightful it is to be on my couch, no pants.
Yes.
And fucking eating some fucking parfait of bacon
yeah,
and cheese.
yeah.
Watching Mad Men and Too
And
Loud.
to come home and no one else is on that couch.
No one else is
It
on that couch.
Nothing more infuriating than coming home and people are fucking hanging out in your space.
And I used to love it.
Yeah.
For a time, I loved it. But
Yeah,
now
you
I
get to
feel
a
like a
point.
grown man. And I'm
Yeah.
like, please, this house needs to be empty.
Yeah.
But then the next level is this house needs to be quiet. I can't. Now I have my,
Right,
my
right,
neighbors
exactly.
are my roommates that I don't
and
see.
you want to be able to make noise when you want to make noise.
I know.
I play drums. I had to get a house.
Yeah.
I can't live in an apartment again because we have band practice. I play drums every day for hours.
Really?
And you can't do it in an apartment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That just made you so much more awesome. So your drums and
Yeah.
your house, these are good things. And you'd like a. I've been trying to bring monogamy back to the show because so many people came onto the show and just being like, I just want to fuck other people forever, and that's fine. I'll
Right.
hear that out. But listeners were getting a little frustrated that nobody seems to want to get married.
That's
I
crazy.
guess.
I would love to have a child and get married, all that shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I fuck people to try to find that person.
Yeah.
So sometimes I appear to be
Sure.
a cad.
Yeah. I challenge you to a duel.
A coxman.
You can. A coxman.
But in reality,
That
you
coxman.
have to
You're the
meet girls
coxman with
and
the
you-
heart of gold.
Yeah. What are you gonna?
With the cock of
You're
gold?
not gonna like marry someone you haven't fucked.
Yeah, I understand that.
What if-
Although, no, I didn't, but I knew a lot
You
of
could
people
marry
that did.
someone and then find out that they have a very smelly vagina. And
Well,
that,
it's
that would
interesting.
be a very big bummer.
Somebody just Facebook. I love weirdos and the fans of the show, and someone was so good. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, but they tweeted it at me. This idea that there's a type of dating called smell dating, which you sleep in a t-shirt for 3 nights, put it in a bag, and then you go to this party where you get the bag and you smell bags. And let's say you liked number 19. They're all girls shirts
Wow.
or whatever. You smell it and you're like, there's something about this that I like. And then you get to see their photo as well. You know what I mean? So you can,
Yeah.
But if you smell them, and it was weirdly successful.
That's cool as shit.
The people that were like, I like the way this person smells,
Yeah.
and they're cute, they would date for years. You know, just like
Hey man, if you want to get weird,
Let's
when
do
a
it.
girl fucking spends a night and I give her a shirt to wear and
Yeah.
she leaves the next day, I smell that shirt. I
Of
do.
course.
That's not weird, right?
that's not weird at
Okay,
all.
great.
That's not weird
Just
at
the
all.
smell of the shirt.
A fucking girl left a scarf at my house.
Yeah, you're gonna
I didn't even
smell it.
get so you feel a little bit gross. You're like, oh, I have your scarf. You know what I mean? And I was like, no, this scarf is staying on the couch with me because it's
Yeah.
like there's a girl sitting there.
They
I don't give a
smell
shit.
very nice,
I'm a
ladies.
women smell amazing, and I'm a stupid mammal. On some level,
Yeah.
I'm just some fucking ape
Yeah.
that wants to smell a nice scarf.
Absolutely.
This episode has been so delightfully weird.
Oh yeah, I've had a great time.
But you're not dating anybody now.
I'm not dating anybody now.
But you know, you're open to
Aggressively,
it.
yeah, I'm open to it.
Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you meet people?
Well, lately now that I don't leave my house anymore, I predominantly I do meet people on Facebook. And
Yeah.
I don't do dating sites.
Yeah.
because Facebook at least has the illusion that that's not why
Not
you're
what it
there.
is. That's so important to me.
But I do think that OkCupid and all that shit is becoming much more acceptable.
It is.
Many people I know are on it now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Man, I was on it for 2 weeks.
Were you?
A couple years ago. This sounds like the fake story that everyone says. My friend really did make a profile for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I was in a bad way about my ex-girlfriend.
That's so funny.
And I was like, all right, I'll check my... And then I checked it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Yeah, I get to read what these fucking... What are the chances that you go to a bar, and out of those 30 people,
Yeah.
you know, you can type in what you want in a person.
Right.
What are the chances if you go to a bar, you're going to find
Yeah.
those
It
people?
doesn't really make any sense.
It's so much more convenient.
I
It makes
hear-
so much more sense.
I hear about those really romantic stories, though. Where
Right.
you meet in some really romantic way.
Yeah.
But, like, we can't all have that, unfortunately. And just mathematically, it makes more sense. It's like, I'd really like this, this, and this.
Yes.
These are optional, but I still like them.
Yeah.
And these are not really
But these are
necessary.
biggies
but
to me
they're cool.
because you go to a bar. Oh, this girl's so pretty. She's super funny. Oh wait, she is pro-life. You find that out a week
Right.
later, and then it's like, oh, I actually can't be with you.
Right.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, they're interesting deal breakers. I was just thinking about what some of my deal breakers were. I can't remember.
That's a
what
big
they are
one
now.
for me. Is abortion? I mean,
Oh, really? They need to
because
be
I'm gonna.
pro-life?
Cause, yeah,
Or
she's gonna
pro-choice?
get pregnant at some point. But point being, I saw someone from college on OkCupid, and that's why. And I immediately deleted my profile.
Oh, really?
Because I was like,
I worry
they've
about
they
that.
see me now. I'm humiliated.
Right.
Never again. And I haven't gone on since.
It's weird because this is just a great weird episode. I'm going to embrace the weirdness. I have thought about that in the past, online dating, and then I'm like, it's too humiliating.
Yeah.
For them to be like, that's the guy. If they know me at all, to be like, oh, that guy that I saw on television or whatever is on this thing. It's too, and you're about to be on television, so things
Well,
are
if
about
it gets picked up.
If it gets picked up, it's about to get even weirder.
Sure.
You are playing Harris on Sarah.
We changed the name
Silverman's-
so it seems like I'm acting.
Ah.
But yeah, it's me.
to Maris.
Roger Maris.
Laser accuracy. I haven't said it in a while.
I was hoping for one. Phew.
It's like the Johnny Carson okay.
Yeah,
If
you
I say
waved me
laser
over.
accuracy,
Yeah.
except it means nothing for your career. So you, Sarah Silverman, who's a friend of yours, wrote a part for you on your show, and you are badass because, Chelsea and I would talk about this, and I talk about it with my other friends. I also was in a place, I guess I'm secondhandedly calling myself badass, but what I mean is you were an inspiration to me. Our friends that leave these jobs,
Right.
which are cushy,
Right.
and they just get more good paying.
Right.
I'm a writer. They
Sure.
get more good paying.
Yeah, well paying.
Yeah, well paying.
That is. I was trying to make a joke, but then I realized that is the actual.
That was
is
right.
Well paying.
Yeah,
Okay.
more well paying. And you can do it. And you know that you would stick in it and you'd be okay.
I'm not as cool as you think I am because if the show doesn't get picked up, I'm going back to Parks.
Oh, right, of course. Sure.
So I'm
Is
not
that-
like,
Wait, you worked that out?
yeah.
You were like, if it doesn't get picked up,
I
I'm
need
coming back?
that cushion. I'm
That's-
too
that
paranoid.
doesn't- that's
I just
okay.
got a house, man. I got a mortgage now.
See, you're in the system, man.
That's true.
You're on the grid.
I would love to take the 2 months that I've been off right now.
Yeah.
have been the most enjoyable 2 months of my entire life
Really?
because I was working like a fucking
Yes.
dog.
You can say working like a
slave, because I'm not
slave?
saying it's like a black slave. There's Jewish slaves. There's every
Chinese
type.
slaves.
I was working like a Chinese slave.
This just got wow. This is what we did in this episode. We took the football, and we
Yeah.
were like, let's run this into the weird end zone.
Yeah.
And then, like Forrest Gump, we just kept running.
Yeah, and then-
into the visitors'
Yeah,
locker room.
Jenny's she got AIDS.
Yeah, she's
we're
got-
gonna raise her kid now.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! Because you didn't know at the bar that she was pro-life.
Yeah, didn't know. Also, didn't know that it was AIDS when I first saw that movie. Thought it was just a cold. She said I'm sick for it.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she
I
had
was 10.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Are people? Is this going to catch on? Instead of saying I'm positive, you go, man, I'm HIV. Will that catch on?
Is this the first time you've heard that?
Are you sure this movie is at 7 and not 7:30? I'm HIV,
I'm
bro.
HIV, dude. Yeah, I think that.
I don't think that's
Well, people are getting pretty casual about AIDS. I think
because of the curish feel.
Yeah, I think we're on the horizon.
It's like the Black Plague. The first jokes that were about the Black
Yeah.
Plague, it started looking like it was going away, and it's
Right.
like, oh man, like that one guy, Iris Soothsayer. the one jokester
first Black
that made the
Plague
first
joke.
Black Plague joke.
Yeah.
He's like, this
Yeah.
is spreading like the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Oh, Iris. Really took a shot there, Iris.
It was Billy Crystal.
That's his lineage.
Yeah.
That's his lineage. So, but you are badass in that you are trying to break away and be more of a performer.
Yeah,
I guess that's badass.
I'm
only to
not.
me.
I haven't done stand up in 7 months. If we're being honest,
Really?
because, well, I wanted to talk about this with you
Yeah.
because I have this thing that I feel like the when you're a stand up that is great and enjoying it, it's because you like, I think you've even talked about this, but you're doing it for you and the audience, right?
Yeah.
Do the comedy that would make you laugh.
Yes.
Right? Now I want to talk to you about this because we're both comedians and we're writers and we're not civilians anymore, right? All we think about is comedy.
It's so funny because Katie,
Yeah.
parking lot Katie. Sorry, Katie.
Yes.
Parking Lot Katie and
That's
I
a
were
great
talking
song,
about-
great country song.
Which I like now that I'm an older man.
Yes.
Oh man, it all folded in on each other. We were talking about how I stopped saying civilians, although comedians do refer to non-comedians as civilians.
Right.
And what I said to her, I'm glad it's coming up, is I was like, I bet parking lot attendants who work the midnight to 7 a.m. shift call people who aren't parking lot attendants civilians.
Yes.
Because their lives are so different
Right.
from the
It's just-
regular 9 to 5 guy.
Yeah.
So they just call them civilians.
In any occupation, yeah, the people that don't do that
don't
occupation
do it
are civilians.
Yeah, if you're in advertising,
Yeah.
and then there's
Right.
civilians. I think that's a more inclusive, exclusive
Yes,
term.
yes.
I allow other people to use it, but yes. So
But
you
point being is that
yeah.
because I'm not anymore, and because the stuff that makes us laugh is like the fourth thing past what the normal joke would be, if that makes any
Yep.
sense, because of layers and irony and whatever the fuck.
Right.
It's impossible that I would be able to like tell the jokes that make me laugh and make America laugh, because we just don't have the same sense of humor. If that
Interesting.
makes any sense.
You're doing comedy for like 4 steps removed.
For like, yeah, for the first step, and it's, some people like Louis or Zach are lucky enough that the
What
shit
makes
that
them laugh.
what makes them laugh is also universally hilarious.
I-
I don't think that's my case. I live in a writer's room, and my fucking sense of humor is very alienating. I think my true who I am.
Right. We call this the community syndrome sort of thing. Like you'd like,
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
watch Community, but I'm
Right.
talking about kind of insular,
Yeah.
exclusive.
Yeah,
comedy.
exactly.
But I bet if you get out, and it sounds like you're about to get out, you'd regain some of your salt of the earthiness. I bet.
I would maybe regain it, or hopefully what would happen was that people would just come to. I could say
Elevate.
whatever the fuck I want on stage, and people
Well,
would come to
who
me.
was it? It was David Keckner who was just talking about Del Close, who said, "Treat your audience like they're poets and playwrights. You know, like treat them like they're geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
And give them a chance to come to you. Because I think you might be surprised.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to think of.
Well, because there's also like
Arrested Development is one of those shows that was just like such
that,
a
also, that
writer,
no one watched.
and no one watched. But
I was opening for Sarah and Louie in my stand-up heyday. I was not a headliner. I've
Right.
headlined once at the San Francisco Sketch Fest. That's
uh-huh.
but your job as a feature is to give them a good show,
Yeah.
and not fucking do your bullshit like
Right.
experimental
Right.
whatever.
Deliver.
And so I was like, all right, I have to kind of be middle.
Be a middle guy.
Yeah, and it wasn't after a certain point. It wasn't fulfilling, but I couldn't jump to headliner because I didn't have a following.
So you feel like you're losing your touch with an audience?
I feel like you should only. Yeah,
you're afraid that you're losing your touch with your audience.
Yes,
you're not sure that you're doing.
I don't
that.
think I am because I can still write scripts and stuff.
You know what's funny
I can
though?
still write jokes for an audience, but
you know the unforgivable sin that they say is in the Bible, the New Testament, is they say blaspheming the Holy Spirit, right? And they used to say that like my professor put me at ease about. He would always say, if you're worried that you did that you blasphemed the Holy Spirit, you didn't do it. So the fact that you're worried that you're ostracizing your audience is a sign to me that you haven't yet done it.
Right.
Because you care. The people that only laugh at the 4 times removed stuff and are only, looking down on the crowd, aren't aware of it anymore.
well, I gotta say, with that, I feel like the weird one. I feel like
Yeah.
the
Well, I can
audience
feel
is-
that coming
I feel like
off of you.
The audience their sense of humor is correct.
Yeah.
because they are the majority.
Right.
And I'm the one that is just going to be like, all right, I'll go, you guys can have fun. I don't want to bring your good time down.
I'm sure you'll find it.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you'll be...
I had it for a while.
Yeah.
I was doing fun, but I feel like I was being a little inauthentic as to who I am.
Yeah.
Or something.
Well, I'd really... You know what I would say to that? I would say go nuts.
Yeah.
Not
Just
when
go
you're
nuts.
middling. Go nuts and do
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Because I think there's a lot of success stories that started with... Like, Larry David's one of those guys that could... Going back to Larry David.
It's okay. Yes,
Who
it
couldn't
kind
go...
of is that.
He would go up on
Yeah.
stage and hated the crowd
Right.
and hated doing...
I'm just compared myself to Larry David.
No,
I'm so
I
sorry.
did it.
Okay,
But it's
it's that
outlook.
It's that outlook. Yeah,
that
not-
outlook of like, what do I
What do I have to
dance
offer
for
these
you?
people? Yeah, yeah.
This is what I like.
Yeah.
But then like you see him do like on that special, the Curb special, the pilot, I guess it was, where he does that stuff about
Julius Caesar.
Et tu, Brute.
Yeah.
Who is that for?
Right.
And then you know what? There are a lot of people that know to
Yeah, you're right.
Et tu, Brute.
That's
Et
the
tu,
thing
Brute.
is I'm not fucking smarter than these people.
I
They're
think-
smarter than me.
I think it's the Del Close thing. I think
Yeah.
it's the treat them like poets.
Yeah, 'cause
and-
they are.
And they probably will be. And you know what? Like we said with Gaffigan and stuff, there's certain crowds that you're just not going to be for,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. You don't only want to play for crowds that share your exact upbringing,
Right.
but before you can convert other people and be persuasive with this unique type of humor, just bang it out at UCB for a couple months.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing that happened. I did just get fucking profoundly lazy and stopped writing
Yeah.
material because it was all going to other shit.
Right.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how people do
Like
it.
Mulaney and all those.
Yeah.
I always go to Mulaney before myself.
And Hannibal is another.
Hannibal,
example.
Mulaney.
Yeah.
I take issue with people, and I'm not saying Hannibal or Mulaney do that, but I never would take claim of my ideas. David Mamet, somebody asked David Mamet, where do your ideas come from? And he said, I think of them, which I think is the perfect response.
Yeah.
Seinfeld also said in an interview one time, he was like, he finds it incredibly pretentious that creative people act as if they have anything to do with their ideas. You know what I mean? He's like, they're coming from our subconscious.
Yeah.
I feel them being lobbed over the wall that's blocking them all from
Right,
coming in.
right.
And one of them, like a flaming arrow in Robin Hood, will sail into me.
That's funny.
And it's my job to write it down and go, thank you, subconscious. And the best thing I can do is relax and foster it and try and live a good life and try and live an interesting life, try and surround myself with interesting people, try and give myself enough downtime to let the creativity bubble and brew and ferment. And then the rest of my job is dictating, really just being the instrument. And I know that sounds
vessel.
lofty.
No,
I don't
but
give a
that I
fuck.
think a lot of musicians say that too.
Yeah,
yeah. Where
Just
they're
let
the
it
vessel.
happen.
Yeah.
Well, that's Cormac McCarthy, who wrote The
Yeah.
Road, said that he just wrote.
Right.
He just
And it just came
dictated.
out,
He
yeah.
didn't know where it was going. It wasn't outlined. He was writing it going, I don't know how this is going to end. And then it ended beautifully, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Great ending. One of the
Fucking
best.
great ending.
Yeah.
Tearjerker.
Yeah.
On an airplane.
Yeah.
Put the hoodie up.
Love it.
Don't want people to say.
That-
Guy didn't know where it was going.
Yeah. Get the window seat so no one can see you.
So when it comes to like how do we do it, these jokes and these ideas I think are just popping in, and all we can do is be in their service.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
And now that you have a little time to yourself,
yeah.
they're going to start bubbling and coming.
Well,
in.
I'm hosting Crash Test. I have to. So
And that's-
I haven't done stand up in so long, and I was like, I'm gonna do it now. I booked
Well,
it.
you've just employed one of my favorite principles, which is you need to give yourself something to work towards, which is
Yeah.
like the best thing to get you working is to book a show that you're not
Yeah,
ready for.
You're not gonna be ready for fatherhood.
Yeah.
until you fucking have a kid.
Yeah.
Everything. You just
Yes,
fucking cart
that's
before the
actually
horse.
very
Yeah.
similar. You basically got your calendar pregnant,
Yes, exactly.
and now you better get ready
now
to
I
be
have
a
to
dad.
deliver. What's going to happen is I'm going to go on stage and lazily read jokes out of my phone.
It'll be the best. I love you, man. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, we're still on. Thank you.
You're great. Yeah, you're
thank
done.
you,
That's-
Pete. All right.
Oh, you got to say keep it crispy. I almost
Oh, yeah,
forgot.
of course. Keep it crispy, guys.
Little guys at the end.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.